Hello, how are you? And welcome to my video. Today we are doing a time lapse of our North American beaver habitat. Now we already had beavers put in our zoo in a beaver and moose Yellowstone habitat, but in the live stream we decided to give them their own habitat because we didn't really feel like they were being completely appreciated for all that they could be when they were put together with the moose. So now the moose are on their own in their Yellowstone habitat, and we gave the beavers this beautiful, large, water-based habitat, which came out really cool. So most of the terrain work and sort of nature plants and stuff were done during the live stream, and this is more of the detail work after the fact that I did the day after. And we start with this underground animal talk area where people can go under to view where the beavers can swim to eat some of that the food, the enrichment item that they can eat under the water, which looks really cool from some of the point of views in there. And we also put the animal talk to bridge a dam in there for the guest as well, and I think it came out really nice down there. We also have some nature scenes in there to look like a waterfall and a dam and stuff like that, some informationals about just kind of how beavers live. But as for the habitat, there are three main levels or areas of water. So this side over here that people can view under the water over here is the deepest water that is in the habitat, and I think it's like 13 feet. And then there is a faux dam that we built, and then it transitions into two separate areas after that. One that's closer to where the guests can view, and that's probably about like 6 feet. And then there's the part where the beavers mostly hang out, and it's back towards like their shelter area, and that is probably like 4 feet water. And we also decided to have this habitat sort of transition into the waterfall feature that we had that basically bleeds into the North America, or was it the Great American Plains habitat with the bison and the antelope and the prairie dogs and stuff, so that water feature was able to go down there. And I think it makes more sense now of like why there would be a rapids, because there's like a beaver's dam at the top. So I think it came out really nice. And one thing that I really like about this habitat is sort of the areas where the guests can be and the views that you can get of the habitat from like the areas that you can walk around. We ended up building this really cool like retaining wall instead of using like an actual fence, because I used a fence for most of the other habitats, especially because they were sort of elevated paths. This one isn't really completely elevated except for the side that goes down into the habitat. So I wanted to do something else other than just like a metal fence, or I guess wooden fence. So we used those stone wall pieces that aren't on the grid and sort of built like a retaining wall that follows around almost all of the path. And then it is like wooden pieces, the logs that aren't on the grid pieces, those are underneath it, and I think it looks really cool. It looks really nice, especially from the guests' like point of view. When we zoom in at the end, you'll see like in the cinematic shots. I think it really looks like quite interesting because it's, you know, just something different, and it's tall enough for the beavers to not get out of. So from some of the locations, if the beavers get close enough, you'll basically be like within arm's reach of them, which I guess in real life probably wouldn't be the safest because people are really stupid and they'd probably try and pet the beavers. But in our game, we're lucky enough to know that people aren't going to do that. We might have to put some of those security signs that tell people like don't feed the animals or and stuff like that, and that might help with the kind of roleplay aspect of the game. But in general, I think it's a really close encounter with the animals, which the guests aren't really too happy with the habitat. They don't really get some good views of the beavers. There's an area sort of behind the water where their nighttime shelter is, and they mostly spend time back there, which I don't mind because otherwise they would probably be really stressed out if they didn't really have any area to go to. But they do come and hang out in the deep water quite a bit, and then we put their little enrichment mud item sort of up closer to this fence over here, and they go in there a lot and play with the mud, so the guests get some pretty good views there. But as of right now, this is a really popular habitat, and there's quite a lot of guests walking around, so the congestion is pretty high. But I'm assuming that it'll die down a little bit when we put some other habitats maybe on the other side of this, and I think the grizzly bears will also pull quite a few people in. This is us building that wall that I was telling you about. And I think it came out really nice. You can see here we just kind of had the wood underneath and it gives it a really nice retaining wall like visual, so we can hide up some of that ugly terrain work that we did. Also up here you'll see we're getting ready to place a restaurant. I got this restaurant off the Steam Workshop and it was called Beaver Bros, but it isn't an actual like functioning restaurant. I'm assuming they built this before the restaurant feature was added to the game. So it's all scenery pieces. So we had to go in and sort of adjust it and tweak it to where we can actually fit a actual restaurant shop in there and put some actual chairs. And it was really frustrating because the whole yellow building on the side, that tower, isn't even in like a building section or whatever. It's all just scenery pieces plopped in the game. So it was very frustrating to try and grab pieces and multi-select and delete and stuff like that. But we ended up getting it. We just had to make it a little bit wider to try and squeeze in that restaurant piece, which basically just works as a rabbit hole. There's just like a faux door for people to walk through and go in there and eat. But they do sit up on that balcony and it does look really cool, and they get a really good view of like the overall habitat, which I really like. Also, one thing that we added that I think came out really cool is we added the track ride. So we've been talking about track rides for this park. We're going to have pretty much a track ride in each large section of the park, and then we're going to have the monorail that goes around all of the park and basically connects all those smaller ones together, so people can basically, you know, transfer and move around and stuff like that. And in the North America, or the Americas, sorry, not even just North America, the Americas, which includes North America, South America, and the Arctic Cove, we're going to have the train, the steam train. And so I tried to place it down. I really had no idea where we were going to be putting it because I didn't really plan ahead when I started building these habitats, so it's kind of hard to squeeze it in without making it look like super weird or ruining traversability of some of the animals' habitats. But we were able to kind of squeeze it up sort of north of the fallow deer habitat, and it kind of snakes just around to the back of this and then kind of swoops around the back of the beaver habitat. And I think that looks really cool. And then we also have it going across the waterfalls that is going to be the grizzly bear habitat, so I think you will be able to get a really good view of the grizzly bears from the ride. But you'll see in the cinematics at the end, the train just kind of skates around the edges of the beaver habitat, and I really love the way that it looks. And also when you're just in the game and sitting around and listening, I really love the sound of the train in the background, the people walking around and oohing and awing at the beavers, and you can hear the beavers messing with that one enrichment item, the mud pit. You can hear them like knocking the trees over and stuff. And I think it's really, really, really cute. I love the beavers. I think they're absolutely adorable. We actually got to name one of our beavers after a viewer, which was really cool. We got a donation on the stream, so we named one of the beavers after them. Shark Gaming 366 is one of our beavers. And we also decided to name one of our beavers Bucky after the Bucky gas stations in Texas. Or I guess there's a few more, not just in Texas, but and my sister lives in Texas, so I got to go see a Bucky's while I was there, and it was really cool. And I had a Bucky shirt on while we were doing the live stream, so it was really cute. So we decided to name a beaver after Bucky. So yeah, we have 2 named beavers, and if you want a beaver named after you, you just have to donate to the stream on streaming days. And you can get one named after you. Not even just a beaver, you can get any animal named after you. And I also have donations set up to have employees named after you, guests named after you, if you want like an entire habitat or like learning facility named after you. It's all below my stream, you can see it in there. If you're interested in doing donations like that and you want to be immortalized in the game forever. But yeah, we had a really fun last live stream when we were building all of this terrain work, because we also did the badgers exhibit, because the badgers were in the fallow deer habitat, and we agreed that the fallow deer and the moose were basically overshadowing the little guys, because those habitats had to be big for them, and the little guys were basically not viewable. You couldn't see them. So we decided to move the badgers out sort of in front of the fallow deer habitat, which they got a really cute little habitat. There's a few things I want to add to it. I kind of really want to do like a cute little Hufflepuff feature, like an Easter egg or something like that, since the badger is their house animal and I am a Hufflepuff, so I was like, I need to do something. So I'm gonna see if I can figure something out for that habitat. And then we also decided to move the beavers, and I was struggling to figure out what to do with this lake up here, because it was kind of a bit of a ways out to get up here, because we are trying to consider like disability access to some of these areas in the park, and that's why we were putting in the track rides. But this area is pretty much up some steep stairs. So that's why I really incorporated the track ride in it, so that we can roleplay the fact that if someone is disabled and can't get up the stairs, the track ride will allow them to be able to get really close in view of the habitat. So I'm hoping that will help. And in general, like that's just kind of the vibes we're going with. So I'm trying to make sure some of the paths are at least sloping and winding and not so many stair pieces. So that either, you know, guests with habitats or guests with like heart problems and have like things like POTS and stuff can still migrate around the zoo and see all the animals for its fullest potential. So that's why we put the track ride kind of into this habitat. Here we're working on the back building, and it was a really simple, just stone bottom, wood top kind of thing. I tried to play with some angles this time, tried to get some unique shapes in the building. It ended up being a little bit tricky when it came to roofing, but we got a pretty standard building here. I did add a few of the new conservation pieces to kind of put some like fake food boxes and stuff in there and some buckets and stuff. I think it was a cute little additive to it, and we actually got that staff building right there just far and away enough from that path that if people stand on it to look out the bridge, they actually don't get affected by it. So I really like that. I think it came out really cool. If you want to watch the live stream that we did the beginning parts of this habitat where we did like sort of the terrain work and the dams and stuff like that, and also if you want to see the badger exhibit, because I didn't get any footage of that for a time lapse, that video is uploaded on my live stream. I believe it's stream 8, and it's the Badgers and Beavers stream. And that is uploaded. I think it's like 4 hours or so, and the first, I think, 2.5 are the badger, and then the rest of it is the beavers. And we got raided, so it's a little bit chaotic in the stream. There's some times where we're not even actually building and we're just talking, but you can skip around and kind of get an idea of how we built it if you're trying to get some advice for how to build things like this. So that is uploaded on the channel, and I think I'll link it at the end, that way you can see it as well. But yeah, but just a simple little building back here. I didn't really add too much detail. What I've pretty much just been trying to do for these buildings is I am building the back pieces. Like here you can see there is cement. Since that's not pieces the guests will see, we would want to roleplay the fact that they would probably try and save money by just keeping it concrete back there. And areas that the guests can see, we just sort of have that facade of the wooden structure. So that's how we start the buildings. I put windows in there as well so the beavers can get some nice views of things. And then I just sort of trace, I guess trace isn't the word, frame the whole building out of wood beams just to kind of get rid of some harsh lines, like where the roof meets the wall pieces and stuff like that. And then we just put a couple windows, and that usually gets the building done pretty good, especially when it's just the animals shelter like that. But we are coming up to the end of the video. I think there's about a minute left. There's about a minute of a cinematic video at the end, kind of showing off the habitat and some of the animal views and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoy that. But if you ever want to catch one of the live streams, the links for that will be in the description below. But we always stream Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 2 p.m., which is Eastern Standard Time for me. And we usually stream somewhere between 4 to 5 hours. It really just depends on sort of who's in the stream. Are we getting stuff done? Am I having fun still? And stuff like that. So it kind of depends on how long it will be. But usually they've been somewhere between 4 to 4.5 hours. And we usually can get a habitat done in about that time. We've been getting about 1 habitat done per stream. So that's been pretty cool. We do have the goal of 20 streams this summer, and I think we are at stream, we're at stream 5, so we're getting along pretty well. And I also have the goal to get to 200 followers on my streams, and we also want to get this whole zoo built, which the map, if you haven't seen the map, I'm planning on doing an Adobe Illustrator video, and I'm hoping to kind of show off how I design my maps on Adobe Illustrator to help you guys kind of make your own maps as well in game. So I think having your own park map really adds to the immersibility of the game. So I'm going to do an Adobe Illustrator to show that, but in that map, I think we have like 51 habitats, and so if we do, you know, about 20 streams, we should be able to get pretty much done. All we have left here is the grizzly bears and alligators for the North America part of the Americas, and then we'll get to move on to the Arctic Cove. But until then, I hope to see you guys at a live stream. If I don't, I hope you have fun doing whatever it is you are doing, and I wish you all the best. Bye!